All right, we are.
Wait, what?
Always. Let's see here. All right, I see that the Twitch integration is working. Let's check on Discord real fast here. Okay, yeah, it's working good. Good.
Okay, John, I see that it's a Donkey Kong type shirt, but what is the crossover reference?
It's Brock Sampson from the Venture Brothers, and it's the Obama poster.
No, John Regan.
Yeah, it's Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And Donkey Kong.
I was going to say, the one whose shirt is very clearly Donkey Kong.
I was worried. Because you said it right when I sat down. I'm like,
yep.
Where do you think this is Donkey Kong?
Mine is a Jumpman, but he's dressed as Mario.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crossover. Instead of jumping over barrels, he has a mushroom.
That'll never work.
Goddamn drug addicts.
What a weird concept. Making Jumpman collect mushrooms. Weird.
And eat coins.
But yeah, there's a little. This shirt was a lot more fun before that last season of Game of Thrones, so I don't wear it.
I don't really want to venerate Game of Thrones anymore.
I don't really wear this shirt very often anymore. But yeah, he's got a
secret shame.
There's a little Jon Snow with that dog of his, Ghost, saying "I know nothing." It's got the Ice King dude.
Be honest.
What, from Adventure Time?
When's the last time you fucking wore that out in public?
God, yeah. I don't know.
Have you worn that out in public?
Since the last season of Game of Thrones? I don't think so, no.
No, of course not.
It's kind of always at the bottom of my shirt drawer.
I don't know why they made that fucking House of the Dragon show. No one likes Game of Thrones anymore.
Yeah, I've been watching it. It's all right, but it's not.
Nope.
It's a little too slow paced. Like every episode, I'm like, all right, come on, somebody die. Like, what is this?
You're the fucking problem, John. It's better when it's slow paced. They fucked everything up in the last couple of years by just stepping on the gas. They fucking started skipping cutscenes and shit.
When they start fast traveling.
That's what I'm saying. You got to walk all the way across the map every time. I know how long the King's Road is. They shouldn't have been able to fucking get from one place to another in less than one episode. That was bullshit. Took up a whole fucking season to walk one of those roads once.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings does it better. There's just like 3 movies to get rid of a ring. Jeez.
Yeah. Hours on those roads.
I would say I think my favorite episode of Game of Thrones is the one where Game That Tune starts.
Subtle. All right, who's ready to start the show?
God, now I'm thinking about what my favorite Game of Thrones episode was.
The one where Game That Tune starts. I'm ready.
Maybe when what's his name cuts off Theon's penis. That was pretty fucked up.
I mean, I didn't like that.
I didn't like that.
No.
Not for me.
We're live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
People could see and hear us.
Yeah,
David,
then my
spoiler alert.
Then my favorite is definitely the one where Game That Tune starts.
Are you trying to give us some kind of hint, David?
Yes, little Timmy fell into the well.
Shit, we should start Game That Tune.
All right. So David's ready. Jesse, are you ready?
Yes, I just said we should start.
John,
yeah,
are you
super ready?
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to Game That Tune.
yeah, what is going on, everybody? It's Game That Tune back in the house once again. It's your boy John Harrington here, and we've got John Regan with us. Say hey.
Hey.
We got David Fleming. Say hey.
Hey.
And we got Jesse Moore. Say hey.
Hey.
Hell yeah, guys. Welcome back. Game That Tune in the house for episode 310. And my goodness, guys, what a show we've got coming tonight. If you're just joining us here on Game That Tune, what we're going to do is listen to video game tunes. We've each got 3 songs from a game. We're going to try and guess each other's games based on the songs and a little bit of trivia. We're going to goof off and have a lot of fun. And the winner at the end of the show picks the theme for the next episode and plays some bonus tunes. And our winner last week was me. Fantastic, awesome me. And you know, I kind of picked the theme. I guess I actually set a theme and I set a few ideas and let you guys pick the theme. So you guys kind of picked the theme for tonight's episode. But what you guys picked is games from 1992. That's right, guys. 30 years ago. Games from 1992. You know, kind of a tie-in theme to our little side show that we are a couple months behind on constantly, but it's pretty fun. It's at patreon.com/GameThatTune. It's called Game That Tune Gems. Games every month suckers. We don't really explain that title anymore, but
I kind of
we listen
forgot
to video
that.
yeah, we listen to video game music from 30, 20, and 10 years ago. So I said, hey, what do you guys want to do? 30, 20, or 10? You guys said 30. So we're going back in time, 30 years to the year 1992. What a time it was, guys. Time of great games, time of great fun, of us being very young and youthful, and man, just so many fond memories attached to games and life in 1992. So many fond memories, in fact, that I feel like maybe, just maybe, we've talked about a lot of them on this show previously. This is episode 310, fellas. I don't know, we haven't kept full track of the years of the games that we've previously used on the show, but I think we've used a lot of games that came out in 1992. I mean, we're talking like, SNES hitting its stride, Genesis hitting its stride. The NES is still hanging around and cranking out some of the later titles with some great soundtracks. I think that in the interest of not repeating games on this show, we've got an interesting selection of games for tonight's episode. I'm just spitballing here. Maybe you guys found something overlooked, some big series that maybe, we haven't paid attention to or something. But I think we've got the best of the rest from 1992 on tonight's show. That's just me kind of speculating. Maybe you proved me wrong. I hope you proved me wrong. David, did we use?
You broke
You
up
froze
there,
for a
John.
second. Did we use?
Whoa.
Cool. It's okay. It was a bad segue anyway. So we got 5 fantastic games. We got a great fan request, and we're just gonna fucking hobble our way through this episode. Yeah, Johnny, let's.
John, you should refresh.
Man,
I just want to know what game he asked me about.
right?
Like, I know the bit's over, but I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I'm so curious.
I don't think he's gonna tell you.
No,
Oh, no, he definitely is not.
the moment has passed.
I still want to know, though.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man.
Should we just start the music? I guess he should hear it too, right?
No. Start the music.
No.
Fuck 'em.
Jesus, David.
Oh, crap. He's the one who's going to be editing this, isn't it?
Yeah, he's gonna hear that later, dude. Like when he said, 30 years ago, 1992, and there's still part of me that's like, no, man, 30 years ago is like the 70s. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
1992 wasn't 30 years. Oh my God, it was 30 years ago.
One of my coworkers sent me a meme that was just like, you do realize that in just a few years, the 80s will be 50 years ago. It's like, don't fucking do that to me.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how time just marches on.
How we doing?
Good.
Seems good
Great.
now.
Great.
What was the game?
Oh, John, are you there?
Oh man.
Yeah, man. Fuck this.
Huh. Well, let's just get this started and see what happens, and maybe it'll clear up in a second here.
Game 1.
I feel like
Oh.
there should be more to that song.
This is 1992. It was weird.
That's fair.
All right, so in this game, the secret level of episode 3 is a parody of Pac-Man, complete with ghosts that damage the players when they touch him. Pellets are replaced with gold chalices, and power pellets are replaced with extra lives. Yes. All right. Let's see what you guys are thinking 1992 wise.
I'm trying to do a bit, but this is bad.
I wasn't sure
Oh,
how long we were waiting, or
it's okay. So Johnny wrote 1772.
It's supposed to be 1992.
Oh. Oh, are those supposed to be penises?
Yeah, penises for the nines. I don't know what I'm
okay.
doing, man.
That was awful. And David wrote Splatterhouse 2, which is incorrect. This is Wolfenstein 3D. Yeah, this
see
is
what you should have done is drawn this.
Ooh, that's a way better 9 as a penis. Or a penis with 9 heads?
that was strange.
No, those were the pubes.
Oh, those were the ball. Okay, so the
Okay.
balls were stretching around to be the knot. Okay.
See, you have like the balls at the top with the hairs kind of forming the circle, and then the shaft is obviously the shaft of the 9.
The shaft of the
So
knife.
Wolfenstein.
Yes, this game, which is also featured on the Kill Nazis mixtape.
My favorite mixtape.
This is a game in which you kill Nazis. It's a one of the first person shooters in 3D and stuff.
Go on. Killing Nazis.
And so like you go around in these like different mazes, open doors, kill Nazis and pick up treasure and stuff. And this is one of those games that's like influenced so many other games as time's gone on. This is definitely like big. Like I wasn't a PC gamer back then, but you still like heard this game. You'd hear someone be like, "Oh, you play Wolfenstein on the computer?" It's like you can play games on the computer.
So I forget, and this is just my own ignorance, which technically came first? Was it Wolfenstein 3D or was it Doom?
Oh, Wolfenstein 3D way first.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was not a PC guy, so I was not sure. So
Oh yeah. Wolfen. I mean, if you look at the two side by side, you can tell that Doom is definitely an improvement upon Wolfenstein 3D. Like Wolfenstein 3D was cool because it was a pseudo 3D game on standard PC hardware, which at the time was pretty shitty, right? We didn't have 3D cards back then. We didn't have 3D graphics acceleration. Everything was done in software, and not only done in software, but done on slow as shit processors, where having a 33 megahertz processor was the bee's knees.
well, it was one of those things where I knew that like they were both very influential, popular games, and I couldn't remember if first-person shooters were considered Wolfenstein ripoffs or Doom ripoffs.
Yeah, I think early on, it was I think for a brief there was a small window where people called a Wolfenstein clone, but then Doom just blew everything out of the water, and from then
Right.
on, all first-person shooters got called Doom clones.
Yep.
Because Wolfenstein 3D, everybody's on the same floor as you, whereas Doom added floors.
Yeah.
People could actually be above
Hold on.
you. Yeah.
You're blowing my fucking mind.
Yeah.
But in Doom, you still couldn't like move like you're targeting though, right?
Right. You didn't
Like
and
you just had to face that direction, and then your guy would automatically point the gun up, right?
exactly. You
Yeah.
could not look up. You just had to line up, and as long as you're on the same vertical axis, you got him.
Was it Duke Nukem the first one that you could start moving up
Ooh,
and down with it?
possibly. I'd have to look that up, but that might be. I know Duke Nukem was on a totally different engine compared to Doom.
Yeah.
Because like Doom came out, and you had all these other games came out like Heretic and Hexen and things like that all
Oh,
just
yeah,
used
or
the
Quake.
Doom engine. And then
What about Quake?
I'd have to look up what came out first, Quake or Doom.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Quake or Duke
Oh.
Nukem.
Yeah.
I believe Quake came out after Duke Nukem 3D. I remember
Okay.
going to a friend's house in the early 90s and learning he had Duke Nukem 3D and wanting to play it, and he was basically like, That's fucking stupid. We should play Quake. This is way better. like, but there's titties. There's titties in Duke Nukem 3D. I want to see them.
All the pixelated.
Are there titties in Wolfenstein 3D?
No.
I don't think so, no.
But you kill Hitler.
Yeah.
All right, that's,
So, I mean...
I'm kind of weighing the options, and,
those are about the same, if you ask me.
I am in favor of titties, but I think I might be slightly more in favor of killing Hitler.
Yeah. What I learned recently, like maybe the last 2 or 3 years, was that there were side-scrolling Duke Nukem games.
Oh yeah. Came before. That's why they called it Duke Nukem 3D. It was because there were Duke Nukem games. Like, yeah, because they called it Wolfenstein 3D because there was a 2D Wolfenstein before this.
There was?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was just looking this up earlier.
It was called Wolfenstein 2D.
Or
it's a very strange anachronistic title.
Yeah, Castle Wolfenstein.
Okay.
So yeah, that back then they wouldn't just slap 3D on any old thing. We'd only call it 3D when it was like the 3D sequel to something.
I mean, I don't know. They would slap 3D on a lot of things. If you could get like a vague 3D effect, it would be whatever 3D because they were trying to push those units.
Yeah, so fun fact is I think we talked about this on the show before, but the Wolfenstein 3D engine was used on Super Noah's Ark 3D on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. That's part of the reason I picked this was I was like, oh, we used Noah's Ark last week. So now we'll use the real game.
I think what you're trying to say is now we can finally talk about the Super Noah's Ark 3D ripoff.
Yeah.
Yes. Super Noah's Ark 3D clone or Super... Is it Super Noah's Ark 3D or Super 3D Noah's Ark or Super Noah's 3D Ark?
It doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that fucking game.
Like, you look at that title screen, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, this is fucking John Romero and John Carmack, like when they were just fucking kids.
Yeah, I don't know how old they were when they made this, but
Wait, are these the Daikatana guys?
Yeah.
I'm sure they love being called that. I'm sure that if we get the opportunity to meet them in person, David, that's what you'd be like, oh, the Daikatana guys.
No, they were
absolutely
the Commander Keen guys.
See, I feel like that would be more respected than the Daikatana guys.
Oh, Daikatana.
But yeah, this engine has like code in it that still gets brought up and talked about to this day. Like, they figured out how to do very, very, very fast math for doing the 3D calculations that you need to actually, do a game like this. Because like I said, no 3D cards. You had no hardware acceleration. And there's like a fast inverse square root algorithm that, if you look that up, you just look at it and go, what? What? Where they're doing things with like magic numbers based on how the CPU registers work. Like, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, one of those games. And, now Bethesda publishes all the Wolfenstein games. And, recently they were acquired by Microsoft. And every Bethesda game is on Game Pass right now, and that's where I played Wolfenstein 3D thanks to Kerrigan, our Game Pass sugar guardian that really makes it bearable to play games because there's just so many good games on Game Pass. There's like 2 that dropped this week recently that are have been just sucking my time away. They've been really good. But yeah, I played Wolfenstein 3D on here too, and it plays weird because, okay, so here's a weird thing about controls, and I think it's, like the old games, is like you move the mouse forward and your character moves too.
Oh.
And that's like a weird old thing that I would hate to be stuck with.
Well, I think, I'm assuming back then your computer probably didn't even have a mouse, right?
That's true, yeah. Because you can set it up. You can be like, put the mouse, just keyboard, a joystick, stuff like that.
Jesus, Johnny, you kind of just wrecked me for a moment. I completely forgot there was a
Yeah.
time before computers had mice.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
dude.
God.
Yeah. They used
We
to.
are so fucking old.
Yeah, it was the Macintosh was the first one to ship standard with a mouse. It used to be something that was reserved for like people doing CAD and things like that. Like it wasn't something everybody had at home. So games were designed to be used exclusively with the keyboard. They did not have mouse controls in these games because people didn't have them.
God, imagining a time or remembering a time when a computer mouse was not consumer electronics. Jesus Christ.
Did you see, Johnny? You might have seen this. Someone wrote a new operating system for the Commodore 64.
I've seen a couple of those come and go over the years, but I believe it. I mean, people do it. You know, they love to do that shit.
I saw that and I immediately thought of you for some reason.
Yeah, no, because I'd be very interested in that. I have a whole pile of Commodore 64s, and they're itching for new operating system. And yeah, I got to get on that.
Cool.
John, welcome back. We're discussing Wolfenstein 3D as well as Commodore 64 operating systems and the history of the computer mouse. Would you like to contribute to the discussion?
No, I'm good on that.
Would you like to move on to the next game?
Don't ask me, man. I'm not even here anymore.
But you are here.
David, who are you talking to?
Yeah, honestly, David, are you okay, man?
Fuck.
All right, David, we're gonna move on to the next game while you figure out what's going on here.
Game 2.
the series co-creator considers this his least favorite of the Game Boy series due to the fact that the game was outsourced to a different company who allegedly did not understand the series. I don't know if this is officially a second piece of trivia or just an explanation. This game's infamous soundtrack was caused by a rendering error.
Oops.
Oh man, our first rendering error on the show.
All right, so Jesse says Super Death Becomes Her. Death Becomes Her, great movie, by the way. Johnny says Mega Man 2 Game Boy. We'll have to check with the judges because John has the correct answer. This is Mega Man II.
Ah.
Yeah, you know what, Johnny, you get a point.
From Super Monkey Ball?
Because the NES Mega Man games were all given Roman numeral titles on the boxes, but for some reason the Game Boy was differentiated by giving them Roman numerals. So instead of Mega Man 2, this is technically Mega Man II.
I think you meant to say Arabic numerals on the boxes, and this got Roman.
Yes, I absolutely did mean to say that, and I apologize for my incorrect statement. So
And
yeah,
I stopped using that as trivia related to these because guess what? Because, the boxes don't agree to the goddamn title screens on the NES ones. They use fucking, Arabic numerals on the box and then fucking Roman numerals on all the title screens. And if I have one more person try to correct me about that on like Game That Tune Radio, I'm going to go back 4 years in time and freak the fuck out. Like, Johnny had to program a goddamn robot to avoid answering that question. Like, fucking A, man. Sorry that V and 5 apparently were interchangeable to these people at some point. But, God, we've gotten around that now. It's good. It's good.
and I think to further get around that, we probably shouldn't add this soundtrack to the radio. Number one, to like not further confuse things, and number two, because this soundtrack was made by a rendering error. Like, I don't know that we need this.
If there's a correction available out there, I'd kind of like to hear it. I mean, like, they did their best on those first couple of songs. They kind of lost the thread on that boss theme at the end. But
the funny thing is, I found a soundtrack for download of this, and I listened to it. I was like, ooh, this is rough. Let me go to the original like source sound files and get those. They sound pretty much the same.
Yeah. Oh no. It wasn't user error and like turning these into MP3s. This soundtrack might just be shitty. Dang, you hate to see it.
It's interesting that you say this soundtrack just might be shitty, because this game itself
might just be shitty.
Might just be shitty.
Like,
I enjoyed the Mega Man Game Boy games. I think they had a cool concept, especially when they got to Mega Man 5, where they had like new robots and new things. The previous games just recycled old robots. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because Mega Man 2 combines Mega Man 2 and 3. So you get to fight. I mean, it's a combination of the two best regarded NES Mega Man games. So you would think that would be amazing, and you get to go through some of the Mega Man 2 stages, but with Mega Man 3's slide. And sliding on Metal Man's conveyor belts is kind of cool. And I should clarify, like, the stages aren't exact one-to-ones of the NES games. They're radically different, but feature the same gimmicks and aesthetics and whatnot. And you would think that combining those would be really cool, but it just doesn't click. Like, I want to play a really great game where you fight Airman and Crash Man and Magnet Man and Needle Man, but it doesn't really coalesce together.
What about I'm Full of Shit Man?
Unfortunately, they had to cut him because there's 8 Robot Masters, 4 from 2, 4 from 3, and I'm Full of Shit Man just didn't quite get in here.
I'm just confused. Why did they keep on doing this where they do 4 from one game and then 4 from another? Even, going forward into the series, it's like, okay, so the next one's called Mega Man 3 and it's got bosses from Mega Man 3 and 4 of the ones from 4. And then Mega Man 4 on the Game Boy had the other 4 bosses from 4 and 4 random fucking bosses from 5. Why did it take them until 5 to change the concept and do something different? Like, I don't understand why they didn't just make one-to-one ports of the NES ones. Like,
I feel like because it's Capcom and it was a cash grab.
Yeah. Apparently an outsourced cash grab, though.
Yes. This game was actually developed by, and I lost the name of the company, I'm sorry to say, but they were this.
Real pieces of shit.
My uncle at Nintendo.
Japan System House, who actually developed the Wily Wars for Genesis.
Real pieces of shit.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, the Wily Wars is pretty good. Mega Man 2 on Game Boy, not so much.
You like the Wily Wars, David?
I think it's fine. I do like I think it's the Wily Tower where you fight the like weird bosses based off of Chinese mythology for some reason.
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, you fight. There's like a boss based on like the Monkey King, and then there's like a big like ox pig guy and everything. It's like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, I just think the sprites are too big and the action's not awesome. But yeah, it's not terrible.
I mean, that defines a lot of Genesis games.
Yes. Yeah, eat shit, John.
What?
I don't like that.
Game 3?
But I have no problem with outsourcing. I have no problem with recycling elements. Like, I think you can make a cool game out of this, but they didn't. Because like when you play through Metal Man stage, you go through the conveyor belt and everything, you fight some of those weird like gear dancer guys and everything, and then you jump down a pit to the next screen, and there's like spikes right in the center, so you have to know to move, and like that kind of leap of faith, trial and error shit, I am not a fan of.
Especially not on a battery operated system. Like, no. Come on, make it fair.
Yeah.
Don't let me restart this.
Yeah, a good battery operated game can be beaten on a flight from Tokyo to Hawaii.
We've talked about this.
If it takes longer than that, it's not a good game for a Game Boy.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
I would go so far as to say that Mega Man 2 on Game Boy, not a great Game Boy game.
Yeah.
But would it be perfect for Switch?
No.
Would a Mega Man Game Boy collection, like a Mega Man Game Boy Legacy collection, for a small fee, be perfect for anything these days?
Anything.
I don't even want to say
as long as it includes Mega Man 5/V, yes.
Right.
Like
But
a
would it
Mega
need
Man
to
game
Would
on
it need
Switch.
to include the first 4 Mega Man in the Game Boy series, or could it just be a re-release of Mega Man 5?
Just be a all I'm saying is I just want to replay Mega Man 5. Like,
I just want to see the meeting at Capcom where somebody's like, listen, I just got word that they've been fucking just, I don't know, like slapping half the Robot Masters in the Game Boy games and shipping it, and they're all fucked up and they got everything out of order, and the president of Capcom's like, God damn it, okay, fine. Put 2 guys out there and let's come up with a new idea for the Mega Man Game Boy series. Oh, planets? Great, sure. It's a one-off, though. We're never making another one.
I was gonna say, I love the idea of like some Japanese game developer at Capcom just sitting there. It's like new ideas, new ideas. All right,
Yeah.
what about robots, but they're planets?
Yeah. Well,
Done.
here in Japan, we call it Rockman World. The world is a planet. What if he was fighting other planets? Think about it.
I'm
Promoted.
going on lunch.
I can't wait till he fights Uranus.
Now, what weapon does he get from beating Uranus?
Oh God, I feel like I
Some
should
kind of
actually...
like gas weapon, probably.
No. I apologize because the book is right by the cable for my webcam, so I'm holding my webcam to shift it. I want to say it might actually be the black hole. I have.
Oh yeah, it is, baby. Game
Okay, I'm sorry,
3.
David. According to this, the weapon that you acquire from Uranus is the Deep Digger.
Yeah. even
Oh,
better.
yes.
God.
So
Save
it's
but
basically
play.
like Gutsman's weapon. I have
It's
my Mega
weak to the
Man.
break dash. So sorry.
That's
Oh man.
amazing.
Oh, I have that book.
Yeah.
I have my
okay.
Mega Man art book right next to my
So good.
computer for inspiration.
They knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Mega Man used his fist to perforate the lining of something.
Pull out brown blocks.
Right. Makes it rosebud. Yeah.
The man who came up
But
with
that's
deep.
not in Mega Man 2. So, the characters that
Number
are in Mega
2.
Man are just characters from Mega Man 2 and 3. And do you get to fight any of the bosses, or did you get to fight the giant mecha dragon?
Oh, I
Like-
was about to say, I was like, yeah, you fight like half the robot masters.
Are there good bosses from the Wily castles in Mega Man's 2 and or 3?
Oh, this is something that I wanted to bring up that I completely forgot. You do fight. There's the Mega Man Game Boy games introduced like the Mega Man Killers, which were new characters, and this is the game that introduced Quint, who is a robot on a pogo stick that is actually Mega Man from the future, because Dr. Wily time traveled, pulled a future Mega Man and reprogrammed him to be evil, and then gave him a pogo stick weapon.
Really? God, Dr. Wily's a fucking idiot.
Again, I'm just kind of floored that these games didn't really catch on.
How do you master fucking time travel and then give the guy a pogo stick?
Yeah.
Right. He'll need this.
Well, it's also like I have an arch nemesis that I want to kill. I'm gonna make time travel, go into the future, and reprogram his future self. It's like, no, you go into the past and kill him before he exists.
Yeah.
Done.
Mega Man when he's a little robot baby. It's not that hard. Yeah.
Hello, robot baby.
We've all seen robots. We know how robot babies are formed.
Dr. Light breastfeeds him.
Yeah. Is
Game 3.
that all?
Game
I mean, once
3.
we get to Dr. Light breastfeeding, I feel like we're done.
What Mega Man weapon do you get by killing a robot baby?
Oh my.
Nipple suck.
The diaper genie.
I think it's still the deep digger.
Right.
I feel like the diaper genie is a product that you see advertised at like 2 a.m. on TV.
No, it's
Oh.
a real thing.
Jesse and I both have it, and it's a family thing. Yeah.
I don't have a family.
God, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I know. That's why I was explaining it. Yeah. Sorry, David. Jeez. Talk about things that could be rectified with time travel.
Let's move on.
Game 3.
All right, guys. So, this game's designer stated that after porting the game to 20 systems, he stopped keeping count of additional ports. All right. Who's got some guesses?
I had a silly guess, but then I decided to try.
All right, so Jesse says Basic Instinct for Game Boy, which is incorrect. John says Scissor Me Timbers, which is incorrect. David says Lemmings, which is correct. This is Lemmings for the Game Gear, which was released in 1992. Another game that's probably not great for a battery power system, especially one as notorious as the Game Gear.
Well, I'm just imagining like Lemmings has you guiding lemmings that are like 1/4 of an inch tall. How does that work on a Game Gear that has like a 2-inch screen?
Yeah, it shrinks way down, David. It's, each lemming is like 3 pixels tops.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
It's called scaling.
green, white, purple. Yeah.
It's mostly colors that you have to recognize, not shapes.
Right. Can't see shit on this game, David.
But it's
It
got...
looked good, David. Maybe they shouldn't have ported it 20 times.
You know, when you keep making a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox, I think that's what happens here. You do a port of a port of a port.
It was one of those things where, like, based on the happy, chirpy music and you saying it getting ported a shit ton of times, I was gonna say Doom, and then I was like, wait, no. I bet this is Lemmings.
Yeah, I do like, there's a certain kind of sound that I associate with European computers like the Amiga and the Commodore 64, where they do that bloop, 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 bloop kind of sound a lot. And that game does a lot of this, and I really love that. Like, I don't know what you call it, but like it's a certain kind of thing that was, I guess, I always think of Europe when I hear it.
I believe we call it the next radio stinger.
Sure. Position ourselves as musical chiptune experts here. Johnny really describing that sound.
I just want that on the soundboard.
Yeah, I'm not clear of what sound you speak, Johnny.
Oh, now I got to hear a track again, so you can tell us which part it is.
Let's see here. Hold on. That background part, that bloop, bloop, bloop,
That whoop, whoop, whoop.
bloop, bloop.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's like a
arpeggio?
bubble bobble sound.
But it's like playing like it's not playing. It's like instead of doing a chord, it's very quickly playing like 3 or 4 notes. I think is what it's doing.
Sure, yeah.
I love it. I love that shit.
Okay, it's been a hot
arpeggio?
second since I've taken like musical theory, but is a chord not just playing 3 or 4 notes together?
No, well,
Okay.
no, that's what a chord is. This is not that. This
Oh,
is,
okay.
Because I'm
He's talking. It's playing 3 or 4 sounds faster than like humanly possible. Like it's a computerized. It's like a. I can't describe it, but it's creating sound. And yes, Johnny, I do like that sound. Yeah,
It's not
it
an
is somewhat
arpeggio?
distinct. It is somewhat distinct to like the European stuff. You don't hear it, at least if based on my recollection of chiptunes, you don't hear it as much in the American the NES releases.
It
It
sounds
just-
like bubble bubble.
Jesse. It's I don't know why they. It might technically be an arpeggio. It's just like an arpeggio just means you're playing like 3 notes of a scale, right? Like so, you know, it's one of those things where it's like I'm not sure, like
Because
like-
I always think of it as those like if you listen to like a Tim Fallon track, they're like it's like a kind of sound, you know? Like
Yeah.
if you gave like a squirrel a synthesizer, like what the squirrel would do with it. If that
And
makes
Tim
sense.
Fallon is European, so that
Yeah.
tracks. So Johnny's not off base. He likes the sound. He likes Europe.
just call me Mr. Johnny Eurotrash.
Yeah, exactly.
New
Yeah.
Twitter handle.
Just keeps changing, baby. But so Johnny, how do you feel about lemmings? You don't even have to be specific to lemmings on the Game Gear. I don't want to talk about the Game Gear anymore. All we ever talk about is the fact that it uses too many batteries. How's lemmings?
It's a pretty fun game, actually. It's I can see why it was so popular. Like, I can see why it got ported so much.
Right.
It's a fun, interesting game. You have lemmings, and you give them little abilities, and make them go build bridges or blow up or dig things, and you know, you're trying to get them all out of the cave they're trapped in. And
Wait, I'm sorry. Please go back. You give, certain lemmings have certain tasks, like some are diggers, some are builders, some blow up. Like, how shitty is that if your life is just you're born like, oh, welcome to the world, son. You need to combust. Like, they sure
I
got
sure
the short
do.
end of the straw.
Mm-hmm.
it's very European.
I was going to say it's very Middle Eastern, but that's not really appropriate.
I say very.
I feel like that's very
John,
American.
Game 4.
I was gonna say Eastern European, like a very.
Yeah. These Turkish lemmings.
Yes, Eastern European, Baltic lemmings, famous for exploding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those Albanian lemmings. They're self-destructive. They're hot-headed, but they do it
My
all
favorite
for
indie band.
they do it all for
Baltic
the greater good, man.
lemmings.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a confession time. I don't know if this is going to be. I'm going to be the only one confessing this. Never played
Oh, no.
lemmings.
I was gonna say, like, before you even confess. Oh no, me either.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't know how I just totally missed this. It's been on every system ever. And, I would look at those lemmings on the box art at Blockbuster and just think, cute. What nice little guys in their blue outfits with their green hair. I'm not picking that up.
See, you and I had the opposite problem because you looked at it like, oh, cute. I'm not gonna play this. I looked at it as like, that's not what a lemming is. Lemming is a small, like, mouse-like rodent. It's not a lemming at all.
Well,
Clearly, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm not gonna play this.
that's the thing that, I knew they weren't literal lemmings. I was young enough to understand that these were, unique creatures that were made with, the behavior of a lemming in mind. But yeah, they had to put them in more of a, cute kind of Dr. Seuss context on that box to drawing kids like me, because lemmings themselves famously non-cute creatures that nobody could love.
See, that's the difference, because you're a year older than me. At that age in 1992, you could look at that and say, that's not a lemming, that they must just be using the name. Where I looked at it like, that's not a lemming, they're wrong.
Right.
You know those Donkey Kong games with the little Mario toys you have to like wrangle around? Those are
Yeah.
basically lemmings games. So if
Word.
you've played one of those, you've played a lemmings.
Yeah, I didn't care for those as much as the original Mario versus Donkey Kong.
And I was going to say, guys, confession time. I barely know what Jesse was just talking about. No, I didn't play those games. Yeah.
Well, because like Mario versus Donkey Kong was a like puzzle platformer, somewhat a pseudo sequel to like Donkey Kong 94, and then after that they're like, hey, let's do this but lemmings, and that's pretty much all they've done with Mario versus Donkey Kong. And that
All
kind of
right.
pisses me off because the original Mario versus Donkey Kong I really, really enjoyed.
With the little Robo Marios.
Yeah.
Why were they not Mech Koopas, David?
They were sitting on the name Mecha Mario and
Right.
never capitalized on it.
Well, they came up with Mini Mario, not Mecha Mario.
Well, I
Yeah.
think they were toys.
Toys can be mechas,
Yes.
or rather mechas can be toys.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe that's it. Maybe they didn't want to confuse people into thinking this was some kind of Mario Gundam game.
Oh
By
my
calling it,
god!
you know,
Now that's
I
what
would
I
play the
want.
fuck out of that.
And that's the thing. They, it's the kind of thing where it's like, okay, how about we turn Mario versus Donkey Kong into a Lemmings game. What do we call it? Mecha Mario versus Donkey Kong. Oh, that's a good idea. But a better idea would be Mario versus Donkey Kong in Gundams. And they avoided that whole quagmire by not calling it that.
See, now you're just making me realize what a sad world we live in that we don't have Mario Gundam versus King Donkey Kong.
Oh,
Because, Jesus, I want that so bad.
Now, David, does King Donkey Kong have 3 heads and breathe lightning?
I was thinking more like Toho's King Kong, but just with a red tie. But turning Donkey Kong into King Ghidorah, I'm into that too.
Yeah, okay.
The question is, which head wears the tie?
Well,
All
there
of
would
them.
be
Right,
like,
King
one head would be Funky Kong, and another head would be like Diddy Kong, and
oh my god.
Oh my god. Can we please get some kind of edit of Godzilla King of the Monsters where King Ghidorah has one head that just has like a bandana and sunglasses?
I think we should.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
T-shirt idea.
So fucking into that.
But so yeah, Nintendo avoided having to answer these questions by calling their things minis. They could have just called them, Lemming Marios and probably gotten sued, so they didn't do that. Yeah, man, Lemmings, they're cool. Good idea for a game. Little I guess Nintendo also did come up with another game where you could order around little follower creatures and make them do things. Didn't they, David?
Yeah. Tinykin.
I'm sorry, wasn't paying attention. What was the question?
It's okay. I made something up that
Just
didn't
say
happen.
Pikmin.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I to quote one of the great philosophers of our time. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the chat. What?
So
Way to
yeah,
go, man.
totally fun random fact too. This is made by DMA Designs, aka Rockstar North.
They have good ideas.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
company.
yeah. Forget about
God,
that.
this was
That's
your
cool.
game, Johnny? Shit.
Yeah.
They're going places. This company. They're not going anywhere in the last 9 years or so. They've been kind of stuck in the same place. But man, they had something for a while there. They were real innovators.
I can't wait for that new online 3D Lemmings game.
God, I can't wait for that giant leak of all those upcoming Lemmings, videos. Can't believe they hacked into those servers and found nothing but Lemmings videos.
Lemming source code.
Yeah,
Oops.
God,
all
could you
Lemmings.
imagine Grand Theft Lemmings?
fuck yeah. I can.
Oh, that would
Yeah,
be
dude.
so cool.
You're just like roaming around taking things over with an army of lemmings.
And then
Just
driving
imagine
them off cliffs.
Grand Theft Auto world where you can somehow indoctrinate all of the NPCs and make them do shit for you.
Mm.
It sounds awesome. Yeah. I don't know. I'd play it.
Game 4.
Oh, okay. See you, Johnny. All right, guys. So the marketing company that was tasked with designing this game's box art admitted that they chose something completely incongruous to the game in order to attract customers because there were many other games in the same genre and they tended to look alike. All right, who's feeling great?
I am feeling like I have a great answer, if you will accept it.
I think I got it this time, guys.
Fantastic. Okay, so Johnny has drawn a sad one balled penis.
Oh shit! I forgot to test.
Yeah, forgot the other ball. Jesse says super single white female. Based on the box art, no, that's not correct. And David says that SNES game with the guy playing banjo on the box art. David, can you not think of the name of this game?
Ooh, I know that.
I tried searching like Super Nintendo Banjo and I couldn't find the title. But I know exactly what game this is.
It's like,
I just can't remember the name.
It's called like Flanax or something.
Yes, Flanax for all of your anti-inflammatory needs.
Okay, David, does that give you any hints based on Johnny's answer of Flanax?
Is it Phalanx?
It's Phalanx.
Yes, an actual word.
Yes.
Is it?
Johnny, you are one of the most intelligent and sharp-witted people I've ever known. And you are now Johnny Flanax.
How much for Flanax?
Okay, well, obviously not during the show, but
okay, so David does get the point for Flanax.
David gets the point.
Not playing sounds.
I'm reading Phalanx is still trying to figure out. Like, no, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Flanax.
How is it pronounced Flanax when the L comes after the A?
Yeah, you don't usually see PHL used a lot in words, do you?
It's Phalanx, named after the Roman centurion military maneuver, which is why it's perfect for a Super Nintendo sci-fi shoot 'em up that has a dude playing a banjo.
Yes, I mean, it's truly just a game that makes perfect sense. The hyperspeed shootout in space, Phalanx, named after a fucking old school military maneuver with the Banjo Man on the cover.
I mean, honestly, if this doesn't make sense, I don't want to make sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, the guys that made the box art admitted that they made it to not make sense. That was kind of the whole idea. I was reading like an old article. I think it was on Destructoid. They interviewed the guys that were behind like development for Kimco's packaging back in the day, and they're like, yeah, Kimco would just like, not even really develop their own games. They would kind of buy games from Japan and reskin them, and then they would send them over to us for box art, and so that they send us a side-scrolling shooter game, and we tried to figure out a way to make people go, hey, what's that? And like, well, old Banjo Man. That's definitely it's something. It didn't get me to play the game, but it got me to go, well, that's funny. Like,
I like to imagine kids that rented this from their local Albertsons in 1992 being like, hold the fuck up. I'm not like battling the devil in Georgia for my soul in a music competition. What the fuck game is this?
Why am I in space?
I'm really like
space.
It's like the box art makes no sense, and it's totally just not appropriate box art for a space shooter game. But like, it was never something I looked at and been like, well, that's dumb. It was more like, all right, yeah, well, okay, cool. I'm not playing it, but like, I don't know. Like, I've seen this box art before on like store shelves, and just been like, yeah, okay, that's weird. Like, it didn't quite accomplish the mission. Like, it needed more info. It didn't get me to pick up the box. And just I don't know. Maybe the '90s were just a different time with regards to like packaging and marketing. But I'm just like, oh yeah, old man playing a banjo. There's a spaceship behind him. Okay.
I mean, if I was 6 years old and I saw this box art first, I would cry because I didn't have a Super Nintendo, so I couldn't rent and play the game. But secondly, I would go like, huh, that's a thing. And then I would kind of like move on.
So if you show me this box art and said this is Phalanx and it's an album by Primus, I would 100% believe you.
That's right. Yeah.
I think this box art works way better as an album cover than does as a video game box.
I think that might be it. Maybe I'm just thinking of album covers too, because this isn't so out of the question as a fucking weird rock album cover back in the day. I don't know, like it draws your eye. I mean, it's got the ship in the background and the old man playing the banjo, like and maybe it's just because I also grew up in the folk music scene in St. Augustine, but it's like home to me. Spaceships and banjos.
Well, I'm just confused about Johnny's point of like, this seems like album art and not video game box art. Like, are those not the same thing but for different medium?
Oh no, ostensibly you want to market a video game to, by showing maybe a sample of what one could expect by playing the game, which is what the guys tried to avoid doing with this. They didn't want to just draw a fucking spaceship shooting shit, because there's a million fucking games with spaceships and lasers and shit. And, an album art can be fucking anything. It doesn't really have to be representative of what it, is on the album. Usually it's just a portrait of the fucking artist. But like, like you look at like 70s prog rock albums, it's just, out of this world shit. Album art can be completely incongruous to the content of the album as well.
There's definitely a Venn diagram.
Yes.
Yeah, I think like
I thought
album,
you were definition Venn diagram.
I think album art's usually not as concerned with trying to sell the album as the box art is, right? Like the box art's goal is to get you to buy the game, but usually if you're buying an album, you probably know who the band is already. And it really doesn't matter what it looks like.
I would say it's more comparable to something like box art for a movie, where you're trying to fucking draw somebody's eye in to buy or rent the movie, and it is unusual, in the case of Phalanx, to put a banjo guy on the cover of the box with a spaceship flying behind him, just as it would be unusual for a movie to fucking put something that's simply not in the movie on the cover of the box. Like, I don't know. Jesse, you've been citing all these 1992 movies, so far. Like, come up with a way to market one of them terribly. Like, if you want to market Death Becomes Her terribly, what do you fucking put on the box?
Ooh.
The answer is an old man playing a banjo.
I see. Yeah, that doesn't describe the movie at all.
Exactly.
Batman Returns, but it's fucking an old man playing a banjo.
It's just Danny DeVito with a banjo.
Tim Burton's lost his mind.
Yeah. But
I mean, to be fair, a lot of people said that about Batman Returns to begin with.
and then you turn over the box, it's like, oh shit, it's Batman Returns. It's a sequel to Batman. I understand that. The Banjo Man draws you in. You look at the box, you're like, that's fucking weird. And then you look on the back, it's like, oh, it's a side-scrolling shooter game. Shit, I played like 10 of those. I'm not renting this.
I love the fact that something titled Batman Returns does not make you immediately think it's the sequel to Batman.
Well, the Banjo Man is only there to
Yeah.
confuse matters.
Wait, is he Batman?
It all comes back to the Banjo Man.
He took a long time to return. If that's him with that beard, jeez.
Yeah, jeez.
Or maybe that's Alfred.
Yeah. Fun fact. If you watch every Batman movie, at some point in the background, there's a guy with a banjo, and it's the same guy.
True. Yeah. We don't talk
Mr.
about
Wayne, I've written a bluegrass song for you.
that. Thanks.
I would
Phalanx.
often think of times where you were on vacation and I'll be enjoying a fan at Branca while leaning back in my rocking chair and playing my banjo, picking my banjo.
I took a holiday. I went to Kentucky. Yeah, so I have nothing to say about the content of the game Phalanx. It's a side-scrolling shooter game. Really, it's all about the legendary box art. That's literally what was contained in this request. I got this request via Discord from our good friend Andrew Oliver. Thank you, Andrew, for the request. Check out his channel, twitch.tv/disc2entertainment. And he said, it's got to be Phalanx. It's got to be the legendary box art. I'm like, good choice, baby. Like, good soundtrack, too. Soundtrack, perfectly fine. Great side-scrolling shooter tunes, nice sounds. But we got to talk about the Banjo Man. And it's crazy to me that they didn't hide one banjo tune somewhere in this game, quite frankly. Like
That's the kind of commentary that you come to Game That Tune for. To hear somebody say, great soundtrack, perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we throw around words like great very often, when in reality, it's great by virtue of being SNES tunes for side-scrolling shooter game. In the big scheme of side-scrolling shooter game tunes, perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's no Thunder Force, so it's not.
That's what I'm
silly.
saying. This is the enthusiasm level that we have to bring. It's the balance of enthusiasm and also realism that we have to bring after 310 episodes of a show. Like, wait a minute, no. Just like there have been so many side-scrolling shooter games that people have had thrown in their face with spaceships and lasers and great soundtracks, and Phalanx did something to stand out from them with a banjo guy on the cover. This soundtrack did nothing to stand out from the rest, but it's pretty good side-scrolling shooter tunes. Good Super NES action music. But again, no banjo.
How do we stand out amongst all these other games in the same genre? Are we just as good? Not really. Do we have a good soundtrack? It's all right. Throw a guy with a banjo. Perfect.
If Kemco had been communicating with the marketing company earlier in the process, rather than just kind of fucking forking over a couple of bucks and telling them to, do whatever they had to do, they could have come up with the idea of making this a banjo music game. Like, it could have had fucking Thunder Force music, but played on banjos, and then it would have really gotten set apart from the crowd. I don't know how you market that. You show the Banjo Man, and then a kid reads like also banjo tunes. Like, it's not going to make him buy the game, but it's
I would buy that game.
I know you would.
Imagine having a hyperspace, shootout and or a hyperspeed shootout in space, and the whole time there's that fast ass bluegrass down like all over the place. Like,
good
oh my god,
chase music playing.
Yeah.
I mean, my godmother that likes video games, who used to we used to hang out and play The Legend of Zelda, and she plays in a folk band. She would have bought that fucking game. She would have been like, "Hey, John, check it out. They made an SNES game with fucking banjo music. This is exactly for me." In fact, that's my father on the cover of the game. Like, she would have fucking ate this up. But
composed by Steve Martin. Awesome.
Yeah.
What a damn shame that this
Almost
game
fun.
came out 6 years before Banjo and Kazooie.
oh god,
What a crossover we could have had.
What if they made Phalanx 2 and there was just an old man on the cover blowing into a kazoo?
I'd be fucking into it.
Think about it.
Oh, I'm thinking about it.
I know, and you're thinking about buying it, aren't you?
Yeah.
The marketing is accomplished.
I'm
not-
thinking about buying whatever console is releasing on if I don't already own it.
Right. Oh, man. David, you really missed out on some fantastic games by not owning an SNES. But yeah, good tunes. Great request. Thank you again, Andrew. And, guys, let's just sit back in our rocking chairs and enjoy the next game.
Game 5.
All right, guys. So this game features two bonus stages, one in which the player has to smash the pots, and the other one in which the player has to smash the stone. And while some people think that the Smash the Stone bonus game is a ripoff of Mortal Kombat's Test Your Might, this game actually released before Mortal Kombat. All right, guys, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I just need a second to finish my drawing.
And I'd appreciate you if you would get your drawings done before it's time to show the answers there, David.
Well, you know what? You can't.
I'm the one that has to edit this show, and I'm tired of having to trim this part out.
You can't rush great art. That's all I'm saying. I'm ready.
David did not draw great art. He's incorrect. Johnny says Flanax. Sadly, also incorrect. Oh, Flanax XXX. Sadly, also incorrect. And Jesse says a super league of their own. Sadly, also incorrect.
Yeah, I thought Gina Davis got it.
No, guys, this is a little game that we featured recently on Game That Tune Gems. I thought maybe you guys would have recognized it. We talked a little bit about it. It's a hot release from 30 years ago, released in the arcades, a Neo Geo joint. This is World Heroes.
That was literally what I wrote down.
All I saw was a bad drawing, David. Sorry, I'm sorry that I had to rush you.
I wrote down World Heroes and then a drawing of Rasputin doing the 7-year itch pose because that's a windscreen in World Heroes.
Should have drawn it faster. You lost. Johnny, game over, David.
What?
Whoa!
No!
Oh,
Excuse me. I am going to pull fucking seniority because I am Absurd King. I get a fucking point.
David gets a fractional point.
Yeah, the fraction being 1/1, indicating a full 1, because I said World Heroes with a drawing of Rasputin.
And this is World Heroes 1. He's right. Okay, well, point is, draw faster next time, David. Because, yeah, this is World Heroes, and I don't have any patience for David's buffoonery. But he is right. This is World Heroes, and it features Rasputin doing a 7-year itch pose, as we discussed on Game That Tune Gems.
David doesn't get a point, but he is right. Hold the fuck up.
Okay. Let's not derail the conversation to go back and say what I just said when you've already argued in favor of yourself getting a point. I know you love the hold the fuck up and repeat exactly what we all just said, but with a shrug. Let's just try not to do that for the whole segment. So David has received compensation for his correct guess, and now we can move to the calculated computer and end this nightmare of an episode.
No, it's just World Heroes. World Heroes is a weird-ass game.
Doesn't this game have like a shitty Hulk Hogan in it?
Yes,
is funny since Hulk Hogan is already shitty, so it's like a double shitty.
I think time is more friendly to Muscle Power than to Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, how many slurs has Muscle Power said?
I didn't play the whole World Heroes series, but I'm guessing somewhere between 0 and 1.
Okay, so
0, probably 1.
How many slurs has Hulk Hogan said?
Oh, baby, Johnny,
that's a whole nother show. That's the theme for next week.
Yep.
No.
Games with Hulk Hogan or games with slurs, your choice.
Is that not the same?
Well, there is some crossover. Jesse, draw that Venn diagram.
Yeah, it's a Venn diagram.
Yeah. But so yeah, Muscle Power. He's the fake Hulk Hogan in the game. And he's pretty good, but he is kind of outshined by all these other historical figures. I do like the idea that this game is a fighting game in which somebody has invented time travel and has gone around collecting heroes of various eras to, I guess eventually they've got to fight a futuristic like T-1000 robot.
All right, who's the Bubba the Love Sponge in this game?
Well, that's obviously Julius Karn.
Okay.
The the Mongolian warlord that's not Genghis Khan.
Well, that's one of the things that I love is like a lot of these characters, they're I guess technically in the public domain. Like, you don't need to go to the estate rights for like Genghis Khan. Like, you can just have Genghis Khan. Why are you making up a analog?
I figure it's just because they didn't use all the other names. They had to. Yeah, well, they did use Rasputin. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So David,
They
that's where
used
you're wrong.
Rasputin as well
It's
as
not real.
Hattori Hanzo.
So
He's
one,
not real either.
David, not only does Genghis Khan actually have an estate, two, it is very litigious. You absolutely cannot just throw around Genghis Khan's name.
Yes, the descendants of Genghis Khan, who make up like 2% of the world's population,
Doesn't he own
very
AEW?
litigious. I'm sorry, Jesse. What was your question?
I said, doesn't he own AEW?
Oh.
I don't know that for sure, but I'm gonna say yes.
Yep, definitely. But yeah, so no, I don't know why they had to do likenesses of some characters, but then it's just straight up Rasputin and Hattori Hanzo in the game. I'm wondering if it's the same thing with the Joan of Arc estate, if her family's famously litigious. I don't recall her having any kids, so I don't know.
The French, very famous for being lawyers.
Right. But then also, there is a family that was recently in the news that might have a claim on this game. There is the famous martial arts movie star Kim Dragon, who he's an Asian guy with a black pair of pants, and he does shirtless martial arts. Maybe the Johnny Cata stage needs to have a conversation with World Heroes, but no, they can't, because World Heroes actually came out before Mortal Kombat. So
that is one thing that I do think is hilarious about this game, and I recognize that maybe it's a product of being released in 1992, but they were like, okay, we need the greatest warriors throughout human history. Let's have Hattori Hanzo, let's have Joan of Arc, let's have Genghis Khan, and let's have Hulk Hogan.
Yes. That was what I was going to eventually try to get back to. It's like they collected these, very important historical figures.
I mean,
they had to have Hanzo and a rival ninja. I feel like they didn't need a Ryu and Kin situation, but they did two ninjas, Joan of Arc and Genghis Khan, fucking, Rasputin, and then they come to the 20th century, and who do we have? Instead of getting like military guys, they get Hulk Hogan and fucking Bruce Lee, and then also a robot Nazi. Like,
hold on.
The selection of world heroes here.
Wait, Hulk Hogan's in it twice?
Yes, exactly.
I was gonna say, in what universe does a robot Nazi count as a world hero?
That's what's so confusing. So according to this, Brocken is a robot developed by Dr. Brown for the Nazi army. But after their defeat in World War II, he travels the world to prove that the power of science is the greatest power of all. So he's like he's a Nazi robot Ronin.
Well, hold on. Is he a Nazi robot, or is he a robot built by Nazis that then turned on his creators? Is he the one that killed Hitler in the bunker? Is he in fact a hero?
Ooh.
See, that would be great World Heroes canon. But I kind of do like that he might just be a fucking out of work Nazi robot. I don't know, man. They closed up the plant. I had to go. What are you guys making? Oh, I don't want to say what we were doing in there.
Well, what's this character's backstory? Well, he's been hiding in Argentina. Oh, damn it.
Well, and also
in Brazil.
I'm floored by the developers. Like, we need to find the greatest warriors throughout history. Okay, sure. Who are the greatest warriors in the 20th century? Bruce Lee. Yeah, that makes sense. Hulk Hogan.
Well, okay, David.
Hell of a run, David.
I mean, seriously, like all like him being a scumbag or whatever. Like in the fucking 80s, Hulk Hogan was the shit. Like like that was the fucking dude. Like you can't deny his star power, David.
And it was back when people still believed wrestling. So.
Yeah, like
I mean, I'm not trying to deny his star power. I'm just saying that in an entire century of combatants, is he really like number 2?
Yeah.
Well, who else would you pick?
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna power rank,
give me your top 10
combat people from the 20th century, then please.
Okay, if you're putting me on the spot, like Bruce Lee, number 1, obviously.
And that seems like a joke, but okay.
I feel like, honestly, I would put Jackie Chan over Hulk Hogan.
Well, you can't have Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan.
I'm sorry, John.
they
Why is it that I can't have that?
They
This is the
famously
world heroes, David. There's already 3 Asian guys in there. The fucking 4 Asian guys. Yeah, it's not very worldly if there's
No.
a 5th and you replace Hulk Hogan, man. There's got to be a white man in this game, David.
guys, it's easy. Just all right. General Patton Oswalt. All right, done. You got yourself your 20th century fighter there. Okay, and then
Do you have a follow up to this, Johnny, or did you just want to make that one joke?
and then Roger Rabbit would also be great in this. Over Hulk
Roger
Hogan.
Rabbit is technically not a white man. He's a rabbit.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's white and he's a dude.
He's not a warrior.
when you think about, the kind of warrior characters of the 20th century, a lot of the 20th century is defined by, world wars and ongoing wars involving militaries, but it's not like military heroes. There's not a fucking guy. There's not an actual Captain America out there for Captain America. So they had to go with the entertainers. That's why they went with the fake fake Bruce Lee and the fake Hulk Hogan.
So if the whole
MacArthur
thing,
wasn't out there actually leading the charge and beating people's asses, he just fucking, he won the war in the Pacific or whatever.
so if the thing is, it's got to be military leaders who are entertainers as well. Why is it not Sergeant Slaughter instead of Hulk Hogan?
I mean, he would have been valid, but he
That
wasn't
would
as
be
over
good.
as Hulk
And
Hogan.
he was
Hulk
a bad
Hogan's
guy at
way-
the time, I think.
He's way bigger than Hulk Hogan's so much bigger than Sergeant Slaughter.
He wouldn't have been a hero. He would have been a bad guy. at the
And he
time,
was all
too.
caught up in G.I. Joe.
One of the fucking world heroes is Rasputin.
Well, he was a
Yeah.
hero to some people.
Yeah.
No, I'm done.
Just like Elvis, baby. Elvis was a hero to most. Never
Oh,
been
shit.
shit.
Elvis would have been good in this game.
Elvis as a fighter would have been pretty good.
Yeah.
I heard he used to like beat people's ass all the time.
Yeah, he would have tag team with Hulk Hogan as the 2 canceled white guys in
Well,
the
yeah,
game.
Jesse. Of course he used to. He's dead. He's dead.
Back in the day, Elvis beat an ass or two. Hasn't
He
done
was breathing.
years now. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
but,
did step away and maybe I misheard, but did y'all bring up Elvis?
Yeah, Elvis would be a great addition to this game.
he was an entertainer, and he was in the military, and he was over as hell with everybody.
And he was like given some kind of special appointment by President Richard Nixon about like drugs or something. So he's like,
Hey, he could have used alcohol, tobacco, and firearms in the game.
You know what? Maybe this is a hot take. Maybe this is controversial. Maybe this will even get me canceled amongst the Game That Tune fans. But I'm gonna say it: Elvis better than Hulk Hogan.
yeah, I'm not hitting that hot take button. I think it's
That's
Debatable, man.
close.
Is it debatable?
Neither of them are good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Elvis
sure.
is straight out racist.
Yeah, I'm sure Elvis said a few slurs.
Yeah. Oh, David doesn't want to hear it.
He probably stole a bunch of music from people too.
I don't know that Elvis Presley was racist, other than. Okay, let me make sure I have the words correct. I don't think that
Oh.
Elvis Presley was racist so
Oh,
much
boy.
as the system that created Elvis's persona and music was racist.
Mm-hmm. He also
Well,
fucked
that-
kids.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, he married a teenager.
As was the style at the time.
That is-
5 beats per quarter, you say?
The point that I'm getting at is if you look at combatants in the 20th century, I don't think Hulk Hogan taps the top 20.
Top 20.
I fucking said it. Come at me.
like look.
Jackie Chan and Sergeant Slaughter as replacements. Now you've got like at least 15 other people that you're going to have to name to dig yourself out of this hole.
Yeah,
Like-
fill those slots.
Like
I mean,
David,
if we're talking about like the entire world across an entire century,
Yes,
and
we are
like
world heroes.
like
Professor Farnsworth,
I-
the inventor of television.
No, stop.
I
Don't give him any ideas.
I hate the fact that I'm defending Hulk Hogan at all.
It's weird,
But
right?
Fuck, David.
I
Not
don't know.
even
You
in the top 20?
can
Like,
throw,
okay, I'll give you one. Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
there you
That
go.
would have been a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
Muri Curie.
He was standing right in front of Hulk Hogan, right there.
I like the fact that a woman infected with radiation poisoning apparently beats Hulk Hogan.
Well, she
Yes.
could have radiated him.
David, why aren't you agreeing with us?
Oh no, I am. I think it's funny.
Grace
I
Hopper.
can agree with shit that I think is funny.
I like
See,
that
also,
you
Mel
didn't,
Brooks.
go to Muhammad Ali.
I mean, Muhammad Ali,
Yeah, he would've been good.
definitely.
So we got
I mean,
5,
Muhammad
4.
Ali is like top 5, maybe top 10.
Maybe
Maybe.
in terms of what? Okay, top 5, top 10 of what, David?
Okay,
Is
no,
Muhammad Ali.
okay. I'm thinking of greatest combatants of the 20th century. Muhammad Ali is in the top 5. Maybe he gets pushed down to top 10. Hulk Hogan, not in the top 10.
This is outrageous. This is insane. We need to start a whole new podcast where David power ranks the 20th century combatants from around the world because I am fascinated by these takes. This is crazy. Like, whoa. Hulk Hogan, again, it's weird that me and Jesse are the guys
Like-
that have to defend Hulk Hogan here. He was a
Like, he
cultural
was-
force and he was over as fuck and he's an enormous man. If you're just talking about the character of Hulk Hogan, he is a giant brute. Like, he's a very strong fighter.
They're
Like,
mm,
he went over
okay.
to Japan and like
He's 6'7",
fucking-
300
oh.
pounds, man. He fucking picked up Andre the Giant and slammed him. Like, he's a very strong man. Like, by all of his outward trappings, he is a very large and strong man. He's a good fucking character for this fighting game if you're just going on the legend. Not the sex tapes, not the N-word, not anything that he's done since, not how bald he is now and how he always wears a bandana.
I mean, that kind of emphasizes my point. It's just like we're looking at characters across world history and combatants through world history. So here's this guy who's a very strong man, but just ignore the sex tapes and the N-word and the racial slurs. Like,
Well,
that probably should be involved.
Well, they didn't know that at the time, David. It's 30 years ago. It was
Yeah.
a different world. And, if we're talking about cancelable people in the fucking game, then we need to talk about Genghis Khan and Rasputin and the Nazi robot. Like,
I mean,
clearly,
definitely the
cancelable
Nazi
things
robot
are just
should
on the
not
table.
be in this game.
Yeah, clearly World Heroes wasn't too obsessed with PC people. This was way before cancel culture. Like, this game uncancelable just by being from 30 years ago. But I'm just saying, no one knew that shit about Hulk Hogan yet. So, again, he was over as hell in the fucking hall of like combatants of the 20th century. He is absolutely amongst the greatest. I'd rather not talk about him anymore.
yeah, I'm done.
I mean, we're talking about 100 years.
Yes. And you've only given like 2 things to supposedly supplant him in
Yeah.
this list. Like, that's what I'm more fascinated by, David. I want your takes on combat and combat sports and pugilists. I want to hear who you think is so much more over than Hulk Hogan back in 1992. Yeah.
Okay, that's the problem that I have is because you're talking about like who's a better combatant in 1992 than Hulk Hogan, and I'm
That's
thinking
when
about
this game was made.
who
What the
is
whole
a
show
better
is.
combatant in the 20th century. Like, there's a big difference between 12 months and 100 years.
But you're not giving me any examples of people from the rest of the 100 years. Like,
Well, that's because I'm drunk and can't come up with any.
you are a student of history. You
The-
can't drop facts like Hulk Hogan's out of the top 20 and
I'll
not
give
be
you another one.
20 fucking replacements.
The
I
Jamaican bobsled team.
I also
I
like
would-
the fact that y'all are coming up with more examples and then giving me shit because
I would-
there aren't enough examples.
Yeah, we're trying to
Yeah.
do your job for you, man.
I would listen to a case that Buster Keaton could be on there because
Ooh.
like he was like a really popular like stunt guy and like he would take a beating for his art and stuff like
Mhm.
so you could mention him maybe and I would listen to that argument but you didn't.
And if we're throwing out characters, I mean, all you got to do is look to the 80s and go with fucking, the Predator, fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger in any movie that he was in, fucking
Oh.
Rambo or Rocky, James Bond, fucking
Oh God.
James
Roger
Bond
Moore.
in a fighting game? That'd be
Roger
so
Moore
cool.
could have crushed this game.
I mean, if we're truly going with like unstoppable fighting characters of the 20th century, Jason Voorhees should have been in before Hulk Hogan.
He's not a hero.
He's a monster. He's
Well,
supernatural.
Neither is
Okay.
Hulk Hogan.
Well, also neither is the Nazi robot, guys. It's not about who's a hero. Like,
Yeah, but you also
Thank you, John.
that's why they had to live from history and change names. You can't, Jason Voorhees isn't something you can fucking change enough to include in this game.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you can't get rid of the horrible acts Jason Voorhees has done. Genghis Khan, sure,
yeah,
perfectly fine.
God, though,
Yeah,
I do
you
like
take
the
Asian guy and call him Julius for some reason. But yeah, no, fucking, you can't put a giant guy in a hockey mask with a fucking machete in this game and just be like, oh yeah, that's Dickie Ryder over there. He fucking
Yeah, absolutely. Rasputin,
Oh, I
the
love
man
Nova.
who destroyed the Russian czars, perfectly fine. A guy in a
Hey,
hockey
it was
mask.
coming.
You were just constantly shifting the argument, man.
So-
You really need to have your goalposts checked, David.
You are
talking
fucking
about-
constantly shifting the argument to try to prove me wrong.
I'm not proving you wrong. You're not proving yourself right. I'm saying that you can't put Jason in this game without somebody getting litigious. Fucking,
because
Whatever.
that,
Back to the original
We're done.
point.
We're
Genghis
done.
Khan has no estate. Jason Voorhees has a fucking movie studio that would sue this game out of existence.
We're done.
You're done, man. You're out of your fucking mind. Johnny, hit the calculator computer.
Calculating computer activated. Computers. Beeps. Beeps. Scoring complete. This game's winner is David Fleming.
It sure is. Oh, man. That guy needed a win tonight.
oh,
Oof. Congrats, man. What a
I feel very bad because of how this particular episode ended and the theme that I have in mind. I'm sorry, John.
It's-
Continue.
Disney Theme
Oh, no.
World Heroes.
yeah, the floor is yours, man. It's your win.
Well, based on the game that I chose for our theme of 1992 games, Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy,
Don't
It-
say half the games, I'll fucking kill you.
it got me thinking. And I think that next episode should be our always popular and always beloved theme of handheld games.
You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be fucking
I would like to take this moment to say that I would include the Switch as well as a laptop, so any PC game to be handheld. But
What
yeah,
about phone mobile games?
mobile games also count. Basically, whatever opens this up so that you can select a game that you feel is appropriate. Yes, handheld games
If I
for
play
next theme.
if I play an NES game on my laptop in an emulator, does that count?
You know what? Fuck it. Let's count it.
Yeah.
Wait. So, oh,
Let's make the theme. Let's make the theme handheld, but as broad as you can imagine, so that John doesn't fly to Chicago and shank me.
It just never goes well, man. What are you thinking, man?
I was thinking that I was not going to win this episode, so. And then we got into a huge fight about world heroes, and I don't know.
Nightmare. Anyway,
I mean, I could declare it a free play, but
nah, then I have to make a sound.
yeah,
Fucking-
my bonus music kind of ties into a handheld theme. So
Ties into next week's episode. And next week's episode is episode 311. And that theme sucks balls, David. So that's it's good. So handheld games for next week's episode. Fantastic pick.
as I said, always a popular theme,
Yes.
always well beloved.
as popular as 311.
Amber.
which is that theme sucks. So
Did you say Amber?
Isn't that a 311
Yeah, it's
song?
the color of your energy.
Well,
Yeah.
your shitty theme.
I don't know. I
Oh.
didn't listen to 311, so
Oh, I
Yeah.
guess you're not down.
I never really listened to 311 either. That's the one song I can name.
I mean, Jesse, I have never been down with any group ever.
I don't know. I'm trying
Not
to remember more
surprising.
songs. But...
Yeah.
It's really
David
not.
famously hates music.
No, I'm just famously
It's on
hated by
podcast.
everyone. So
Okay, so wow, what a show that'll be. What a show this has been. What a mess we have on our hands. Thank you everybody so much for listening with us. Thanks to everybody watching live. We're live every Wednesday night. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. Search for Game That Tune. We love you joining in the live show, chatting along in the chat box. We love seeing you guys. Thanks to everybody listening in podcast form. Our podcasts come out Tuesday mornings. They're at gamethattune.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. We super appreciate you guys listening, subscribing, all the stuff that you do with a podcast. Do it with us, Game That Tune. Thank you to everybody checking out patreon.com/GameThatTune. It's the home for our awesome exclusives. We've got mixtapes. We've got Game That Tune Gems, which was the inspiration for tonight's theme. We've got some of Jesse's covered up shows. We've got movie commentaries that are going to be coming back at some point when Johnny's not so busy at work. We got a lot of fun stuff going on at Patreon, and you help us keep the lights on at our 24/7 video game music live stream at radio.gamethattune.com. GTT.rocks, the home for video game music constantly on the internet. So check out Patreon, support the show. We love you guys for supporting us. Want to give a special thanks, of course, to our absurd fans on Patreon. Lance Revere, Damian Beckles, Bradford Stevens, Daniel Perky, Taylor Y, Sam L, Grimmery, Phoenix Tier 2121, Unsaddled Zebra, Akadar, and the Kerrigan, a fantastic group of people that support us at Patreon. I want to thank our requester again. Our request came from Andrew Oliver. Thank you so much, Andrew. He made his request in Discord. Hit us up there, or you can join us, gamethattune.club, our secret, super cool social media server that we definitely still use. Gamethattune.club. It's a great place to make requests, along with Discord. Or you can email us, gamethattune@gmail.com. And that's going to do it. And so, David, you've got the bonus tunes, and I want to know what they are.
So the bonus tunes, kind of carrying on from my game for this week, as well as the theme for next week. This is the Mega Man 2 medley from Super Smash Bros. 4, also on 3DS. So it is a handheld Mega Man 2 medley.
So it is. Hell yeah. Peace out, everybody. Fade that one early, huh, John?
Yeah, it's late.
Yeah, it's not, but thanks. Wolfenstein 3D is copyright 1992. id Software. Mega Man 2 is copyright 1992. Capcom Company Limited. Lemmings is copyright 1992. Take-Two Interactive. Phalanx is copyright 1992. Chemco. World Heroes is copyright 1992. ADK Corporation.
I think I meant Flame Axe.
I think I missaid that. I should probably re-record.